Queenscliff Surf Lifesaving Club has been active since 1924. Situated right in the northern corner of picturesque Manly, Queenies has not only kept a watchful eye over this corner for just under 100 years, it has become a community focal point, as many members are quick to point out. The following interview is with one such member, a life member, who has been active for most of his life.
Okay, my name's Danny White. I'm a life member of the club. I've been a past president. I was a president for 2 years. I was the competition director for 12 years, and I've been involved in the committee, I'd say, over the last 25 years.
How did you start here?
I started here in 1960 as a cadet when I was 14. The Manly Swimming Club was a bit of a school for guys to come into the surf club when you turn 14. And one of my neighbours in the street, Ray Bathgate, was a life member down here and former president. And he spoke to my parents and they said, "You're going to go to Queenscliff Surf Club." So that's how I ended up down here. Manly Swimming Club used to be around at next to the Skiff Club, around in the harbour at Manly.
Yep.
And then it got knocked down when the big cyclones came through in the 70s. And it now continues at the Manly Swim Centre.
Right. More on sort of a personal level, what do you do, or what did you do for work, or what did you do for working out?
Well, I'm retired now. I was in the police for 40 years. I joined as a police cadet when I was 16 in 1963, and I retired in 2004. So I was in with virtually including the cadetship, I was in for 41 years.
Yeah, right. How did you get into that?
Once again, the neighbour over the road. I finished school at 4th year, and the neighbour over the road was a policeman. And my parents were just sitting down working out what I was going to do, and Ken Woods, who was a sergeant living over the road, came over and said, "Tell him to join the police cadets and we'll see what happened." And the rest is history.
Yeah. Obviously that's that very sort of tight-knit, everything you've said so far has been right next door or just across the road.
That's right, yeah.
And all just sort of around here. Have you always been Manly, just everything's Manly?
Manly's virtually known as a village.
Yeah.
Everybody gets to know everybody. We know all the guys in all the different surf clubs are all good mates. And there's an old adage about Manly. It's 7 miles from Sydney and 1,000 miles from Care.
Yeah, as we mentioned earlier, we had a chat earlier about the event, the collapsing of the sandbank. So tell us about that. Just first off, just fact-based, what actually happened.
Yeah. Okay, what happened was Jimmy Young and I. Jimmy was the club captain. It was either 65 or 66. Jimmy was the club captain and I was the vice captain. And we were just sitting up here in the old surf club where you virtually had the same panorama as you got here. And we were just discussing where we were and what needs to be done. And as we were looking out to sea, we saw that the sandbank had collapsed and there was a lot of sand out there and a lot of water moving out and a lot of people going out with it. So I ran down to the beach. At that stage, I was the belt champion of the club, and I grabbed the belt, and we had a few guys from the surf club on belts. We probably had about 3 or 4 belts operating on the day.
Just explain to those that don't understand what a belt is.
A belt. Okay, the belt is the reel, and then you go down there and you put a cover, you put your section over the top, and it comes around there, and it just sort of attaches you, and then you swim out with the belt around you, with the straps across the top, and then you normally have 3 guys that pay out, what they call paying out the line. So you have another guy sitting on the reel. And he lets the reel go out so it doesn't go out too fast and it doesn't get tangled in the rocks. And then you have 3 guys from the surf club. So I've been out about 2 or 3 times, and on the last time when I went out, so we just brought the people back in, and we were getting more people from the surf club in the water, and we had less lifesavers on the line. And what happens is that if you're balling, what they call balling in too fast, it's a signal you get which is just 3 movements with your arm, so that you're hauling in too fast. And the public didn't understand it, and they were hauling in too fast. I had 2 girls attached to me, I was hanging on to, coming back into the belt. And we were over in the northern corner near the pool, and the rope got caught on the rocks. What happened then was, as I was coming back to the girls, I had 3 or 4 lifesavers with me, and all of a sudden I just got dragged straight to the bottom of the ocean. So was on the sand, and a guy had actually died at South Narrabeen on the day before. So I was aware that I had to just be calm and pull the pin out. When I went to go and pull the pin out, the pin was rusted, and it was rusted in. So I was having trouble getting it in, so I was getting a bit worried. The guys dove down, grabbed me, got me back up with another breath, and I went straight to the bottom again. And then the two guys, this guy called Max Lawson and another guy called Terry McSweeney, one of them knelt on my chest, and then the other one got his finger inside the belt release circle, and he reefed it out, and then I was able to come back up to the top. So I was virtually one of the ones rescued myself. So it was very, very frightening, and it was it's something that you always think may happen, and you've always got to try. But I must admit, it was fairly hard to keep calm with the pin.
Yeah. So when I originally asked you about that, the basis of the question was, what is the defining moment?
Oh, that's definitely the defining moment of the club. There's no doubt about that. And then I think later on, when I became the president for 2 years as well, was fairly important to me. And of course, when I got what they call distinguished service, which is for work done in the club, and then I ended up becoming a life member.
Yeah. So going back to the 1965 Sandbank collapse, I guess. The aspect of that is that you talk about everyone was down there trying to help.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
So do you like that signify the moment?
Oh yeah, well it does. I mean, that's exactly what Surfline Safety is all about. I mean, the main reason we're there is to control the needs of the people on the ground. That's virtually, like every year, you always want on your annual report, no lives lost. Yeah. And that sentence virtually when you do your competition side or that sort of thing, they're just the sides to the main thing that you're there for. And in those days, in the 60s, we used to run a raffle on Sunday mornings, and we used to go around the beach, and people would always have, one or two shillings in those days, or one or two, dollars in their pocket, and they'd always buy. We'd virtually, sell 200 raffle tickets, which goes into support the club. Yeah. So the community, and I think after that day, the community really, felt part of the club. I think because everybody on the beach did come to help, even though they weren't fully aware of the important aspect of hauling in too fast. But I mean, that's just shows the enthusiasm that they approach the job with.
The program, the way that you were scouting into the club is obviously they don't use anymore. Do you feel that has changed the dynamic of the club at all, or?
Well, what they do now is we had no nippers in those days, and the nippers it's a great organisation. It's fantastic for the kids, and the most important thing the kids learn down here is that they have a day where they go around and they meet the lifeguard, they meet the lifesavers, and they meet the people they've got to go and see if they do get into any trouble. Yeah. And they understand that if they get carried out or having a bit of trouble in the water, even if it's small, they know they've got to raise their hand and they know that they'll be rescued. So, the only negative aspect about that is that the kids join when they're 5 years of age. When they're 13 and ready to go into the senior club at 14, they've been in the surf club for 8 years. Yeah. And then another, it wouldn't be a disadvantage, but another thing about living in this area is there's so many sports that you can do, so many sports you can get involved in, and when the kids go to school, they meet their mates and they want to go and meet their mates on the weekend. They might want to go board riding, they might want to play cricket, play golf, whatever. So, but it's still, the club's going well. We've got 1,700 members here. Oh no. Well, I've been in. The surf club. We had rugby union teams right out of the surf club, out of the guys that belong to the surf club, and we played in the local competition. And I played rugby league for about 10 or 12 years. So I've played plenty of sports.
So do you think there's a big difference in the fact that the skills you're learning at Queensland Surf Lifesaving Club are life-saving skills. They will save people's lives. And
That's right. Yes, yeah, that's exactly right. And it's you get a lot of satisfaction out of doing it when you do your patrols. You know, I mean, even when you're sitting down here and it's pouring with rain and we're just sitting in the shed and there's one or two people in there. You know you're there for a purpose, and the guys, you know, everybody gets on extremely well down here. There's no division in the club. The nippers and the senior club are still the one entity. Some clubs split it. You know, they have their own nippers that do their own thing, and they have the seniors that do that. But we've always based ourselves we're virtually a very family orientated club, and a lot of the kids, you know, like all of our kids have either joined this club or other surf clubs, you know, depending upon where you live.
So you have kids?
Yeah, I've got kids, yeah. I've got a daughter and a son, and I've now got 5 grandkids, and I'll have 6 in February, 5 and under.
Right.
And they're all learning to swim, and they're all keen, and I'm sure they'll end up in the nippers.
Yeah.
So.
Brilliant. I just had one last question about what you do for the surf club now.
Yeah. Well,
this morning, so obviously you still...
Yeah. So I still compete. I still compete in the Masters. I'm now in the eldest age group, the 70s and over.
Yeah.
And I also run the Sunday morning surf races down here. Then I come and assist. We've got the golf day coming up next week, so I'll be down here to assist them to get ready for that. On Sunday mornings after we run the surf race, come up here and just, virtually. I also do a mentoring job in relation to competition, because I was a competition director for 12 years. So if any of the current selectors and people on the coordinators for the coaching and that, if they ever have any problems, I'm in what they just call a mentoring group, where we just sit down and discuss what problem they've had, because we've all experienced it before. So I'm still very active in the club, and it's a great club to belong to.
Well, Danny, I want to thank you for your time.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you for your stories and thank you for your history. It's amazing, and hopefully I see you around. So
Okay, fantastic. Thanks very much, Theo.
thank you. Cheers.
And good luck with it.
Yeah.